Welcome everybody to Homecoming 2020. I know this is not the homecoming you necessarily expected, but this is part of a series of events that are happening in this week, our way of bringing Ohio to you. So today we are making the famous Ohio University HoHo cake. And this is a cake that has been popular at special events on campus, and alums that I have spoken to have said they make this cake during homecoming and other special events. Many of the students who I've spoken to say that this is a special dessert that is often made in the residence halls during special occasions. And so we're excited to make this for you. We're gonna have the recipe available. I'm honored today to have Chef Tim here to help us make this cake and show you all how to make this cake directly from home. So we're ready to get started.
All right, well, thank you for having me. First steps, obviously, we're gonna make a cake.
All right.
So, we'd really like to start with, normally is the oil in.
Yep, okay.
Right there.
So we're gonna start with making just your own dark chocolate devil's food cake mix. So we're gonna make it just from the box. So you'll start out adding a little bit of oil.
Right. So that's a third cup of oil,
Yep.
and then we have 1 cup of water.
1 cup of water.
There you go, and 3 eggs.
And we're gonna crack 3 eggs.
That's what the cup's for, right?
Yep.
Want to crack your eggs into the cup in case there's any shells.
That's
you don't
right.
want to get those in the cake. Just dump them one at a time.
Yep.
And put that right back in there, we'll be fine. Yep.
All right. And this is the best part about starting with baked cake, box cake mixes, that you can save all the time for measuring all the leavening ingredients. So we're gonna start that.
And they're very consistent.
Yes, very consistent.
So, there you go.
All
now,
right.
I do like to put in the liquid first.
Yes.
Over the dry. That does mixes a little bit better. Doesn't stick to the bottom as bad. So if you start with the dry and liquid on top, you get those little clumps at the bottom.
That's right. All right.
Take that.
So then we'll go ahead and stick
we want the paddle attachment.
Yep. Oops. And then we're going to mix this just for a few minutes, right?
Yeah, we're going to low it first for about
Yep.
30 seconds just to get everything moist.
That's
and
right.
then we'll crank it up to medium. And it really needs that 2 minutes really to get mixed together.
Get incorporated, absolutely.
All the little lumps out.
That's right.
Everything activated, right?
If you're like some new bakers, you always want to start on low on the mixer, because otherwise the flour and everything is going to go everywhere. So we'll let that mix up a little bit.
One thing we can do while that's mixing is butter and flour the baking pan.
Got it.
Okay.
So you'll need 2 round cake pans, 8 or 9 inches is what we're going to do. So we're going to
These are 9-inch pans.
9-inch pans. So we've got the bigger ones here, and we're going to just butter them.
Take a little knob of butter off.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay.
Roll it all around inside. Get the edges really well.
And if you all don't have access to the butter, you're welcome to use the Pam spray. I know a lot of people like to do that as well. And you want to make sure you flour it as well.
Butter is better.
Butter is better. Want to make it as rich as possible. So
then we put a little bit of flour in here.
Okay.
All right.
All right. We'll just
mix it all around, getting the sides as well.
Okay. And you're going to do this with one other pan, right?
I already did that one.
And so we've got that one all ready to go. And then we'll stick the extra flour in there.
Fine. And one thing we do want to do, which I'm going to do here, is give it a quick little bang to get that extra flour out of there for you.
Great.
There you go. I think our 2 minutes should be up. You can probably
All right.
turn that off.
Okay.
Grab our
And so as you can see, their batter's all incorporated. As Tim said, you've got all the lumps out. And so what you're going to do next is take it and you're going to divide the batter equally among the 2 pans.
Right.
Okay.
So we are going to level the cakes because they will rise in the center later. So you want to be as equal as possible, but it's not going to really screw things up if it's not perfect.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So
that's right. Thank you. And so we'll take our spatula and even it out.
There you go.
Got that
And we do want to give it a little swirl, so make sure all the way to the edges.
That's right.
And one little, or 2 little pops like that, just any air bubbles that might be in there we want to get out.
That's right. And that's really one of the secrets to making sure that it's as level as possible, is you want to make sure to get those air bubbles out.
Yep.
I know my son knows that I'm making cakes downstairs when he hears me wrapping it on the counter. So that's usually how you get those out.
He's probably pretty happy.
That means the cake's going. So we'll go ahead and stick these in the oven now.
350.
Okay.
About 22 to 24 minutes. I mean, definitely they don't want it to be dry. Want it to be a little bit of bounce back when you touch them. You can use a toothpick if you'd like. Toothpick in the center if it comes out clean, you know you're good. but I'd rather under-bake slightly than over-bake slightly. So
That's right. You
just
don't
keep
want it
that
to
in
dry
mind.
out for sure.
Exactly.
So, all right,
Some
so
of
what's
this-
next, Tim?
Put some of this out of your way here. We are going to heat up a little bit of heavy cream
Okay.
and make some ganache.
All right. So many of you know to make ganache, I know it sounds super fancy, but ganache basically, Tim, is chocolate and some heavy cream, right?
That's the simplest way to go. There are
That's right.
some more complicated recipes, but I feel we don't need to do that. So
That's right.
I think this works just fine.
And it makes it much easier than actually having to buy the canned frosting that
Right.
really doesn't taste natural. So this is not going to take as long as you might think. So we're going to start out with some heavy cream, and we're going to heat up the cream. And you want to heat it slowly, right, Tim? Because this
Yeah.
is not the time you're going to go off and go check your email or anything like that, because you don't want the cream to bubble over. So we're just going to heat it up till it's warm. And then we've got a bowl of chocolate chips here. So you can use semi-sweet, Tim, or bittersweet.
Yeah,
What's your
These
preference?
are actually semi-sweet.
Yeah, these are
and again,
semi-sweet.
I went that route. Ganache classically would be a bittersweet, something really dark. We tried to like incorporate semi-sweet so it's a little more, I think, middle of the road for everybody as far as that goes. I know a lot of folks that don't really love dark chocolate, so and I like all chocolate, so this works too.
That's right. And it's okay to mix them, right, to have a little bit of a balance.
It's okay to have a little bit yeah, that's fine.
Well, Tim, tell me a little bit. I know that, as we mentioned in the start of the show, it's very unusual time for Ohio University, and we're just now having students come back to campus. So can you tell us a little bit about how it's been for you on campus?
Well, for us in culinary, like I was telling you before, just in Baker Center, Latitude 39 catering especially, we employ over 300 students. So you're used to seeing the buzz of the students. And the first few weeks you're open, without them it seemed a little surreal.
Right.
So but this last week or two, they've been on campus. It was really good to see. I mean, it's great to interact with them again, great to teach them. I mean, it's part of what we do. So
That's great.
What's going on with you in your
Well,
area?
so I wanted to share that this week, as many of you know, is homecoming, and so tomorrow I wanted to share there's an Empower Hour for women leaders, and so that's at 1 o'clock, and it's going to be featuring me and also some other women leaders on campus. Erin Essick-Kopp, who, as you know, is an executive director of our Alumni Association, Janelle Coleman, who is chair of our board of trustees, and also Julie Cromer, who is our new athletic director. So we're going to be able to have a great conversation tomorrow. And another thing I'd want to make sure that everybody knows too, today is actually the first day to do early voting. So we know this is a critical time for America and a critical
vote.
time for elections. So please,
Please
vote.
vote.
Go out to your voter places and make sure that you're voting early as much as you can. So, and if you're interested to know where you have to vote in, especially in Ohio, if you're in Ohio, today is the first day of early voting. So make sure to check out the Secretary of State's website for information on where you can do that.
So I'm from Chicago. In Chicago, they would say vote early and vote often.
Vote, absolutely. Right.
Can't really do that here, but
That's right. All right, so we're getting the cream all warmed up, and
so we want to get we don't want to boil the cream.
Right.
We want to see little bubbles around the edges. So we're getting it basically to just a simmer. So we don't want to get to a point where we're going to burn it, scorch it, any of that. We just want to get it to it's hot enough to incorporate the chocolate and melt it. And we're getting pretty close. You can see that on the camera now, but it's definitely starting to simmer on the edges. Okay. That's probably enough for our purposes.
Okay.
I'm going to dump that in. Give it just a little turn there. Now, literally, normally you have to sit for 2 or 3 minutes.
Right.
It actually might be hot enough to go now.
Yeah, that's great.
So let's see.
We want to show them the cakes too. So we actually have some cakes prepared already for you. So as the ganache, we'll get the ganache all mixed together. We'll grab our cakes here.
All right.
And Tim is actually going to show you all how to level the cakes, right?
Yeah.
So we can get the ganache all ready for those.
As you can see, they're domed a bit.
This one.
Serrated knife.
Yes.
So much better serrated knife for doing cakes, breads, anything like that. Tomatoes, much better. So as you can see, we are domed. We want to cut some of that off. Big mistake here is to do this, okay? It's really hard to keep a straight cut when you're doing this. The best thing to do is from above, stay your head still, and you're going across, you keep a much leveler knife. You can see there. You want to do this one?
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so we're gonna
Yeah.
Just level off the top, and we're basically just taking off the dome, right, Tim?
But we're not just taking the dome off. There's going to still be a little bit of curve to the edge of it, but that's okay. The other choice would be to go to the very edge.
Okay.
I don't normally do that because I think that, I mean, that's less cake, right?
Right.
So, you know, everyone wants less cake. So, all right, there you go. So this, of course, snacks.
Or cake pops,
right?
Right,
Cake pops,
if you want to make
good
something
call.
later.
So what we're going to do is turn these over.
Okay.
So the idea
sorry.
is that we want the flattest surface
flattest.
possible, right? So when we do put the ganache on, we'll put the ganache on both of these on the flat surface, and then we'll stack them later, obviously.
Okay.
All right. So I think we could probably mix that up now.
All right.
We'll put these
so
off to the side.
Finish mixing this. And as you can see with the warm cream, it starts to come together pretty quickly with the cream. So you know that it's done when you've got the chocolate pretty incorporated here. It should be thickened up quite a bit.
Homogenized chocolate color to it.
Right.
And there could be a couple little bits here or there, but I mean.
Okay.
All right. Looks
So we're
good.
just about there, right?
Yep. Yeah. So once the ganache is done, this is the one part of this recipe that is a little fiddly. You have to get the ganache mixed, cooled off enough to whip it, but not cooled off so much that it's unwhippable, basically. At some point, there's like a little window there you have to be in.
Right.
Or if your house is a perfect 68 degrees or something, maybe we're good, but yep, you're good.
Is that
That's
good?
to go.
All
Yep,
right,
yep,
so see,
yep.
it's all
Yep,
incorporated
thank
there.
you. So
You're
we'll
welcome.
stick this in the fridge for now or for later.
Right. So you want to
should say.
get that ganache in the fridge for about an hour or so, because what we're going to do is we're going to take the prepared ganache
Right.
and we're actually going to whip it. So we're going to take
We
an
are.
extra step.
So after the ganache is about an hour into the cooling process, we got a point where you can see it's definitely stiff, but it's pliable. So we'll take this and
Okay.
put into the bowl. Then we're going to whisk it up. So it's not the classic ganache of a glaze. It's going to end up being more like a frosting. If we whip a little bit of air into it, make it a little softer. And that will help us actually spread it onto the cake easier as well.
Yeah, this is a great step, Tim. I've often just made ganache without whipping it. So this
Right.
is really a great way to
Get that last little bit in there.
take the frosting to another level. So, all right, so you're going to use your whisk attachment, if you have it, in your mixer. And then we're just going to whip
Close
this,
it up.
right?
Yep. Get on medium to start with.
Medium to start.
And you'll see after we whip this for a minute or two, the color will lighten up some from the air being put into it. It'll also be a little fluffier and a little taller. Then we'll use an offset spatula, spread it onto the two cakes. Okay, and then those would go in the fridge normally. Okay, so we have to put the rest of the frosting on later.
Okay. So it just takes a few minutes,
Yeah.
right, for that?
Another minute. You can already see it's lightening up in color.
Yep.
You can see the difference in the edges.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
So while
We're
that's
pretty
whipping,
good.
what
Let
else
me
we
grab
got?
those cakes for you.
Yeah.
We're gonna grab the two cakes we leveled earlier.
That's right.
Just
Okay.
out of your way.
Yeah.
For the fluff to come.
That's right. All right, so you can see that these are the leveled ones, right?
These are the level ones that we just did and flipped
Okay.
over. I think we're
Is it
good.
ready?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
good. There you go. So you can use any spatula for this. Offset spatula, as you see, I find to be the best. Gives you hand room to work and you're not on top and it's very flexible. Okay, so definitely a good instrument.
There we go.
Get this out of the way.
All right, and there's the whipped frosting. So you can see, as Tim mentioned, it's a little bit lighter in color now.
Correct, yep.
All right.
And we will divide. Yeah, it's gonna be a nice thick layer.
Yeah. You have a nice thick layer of frosting there.
Yeah, nothing like chocolate. All right, I'll do this first one for Gigi can do. You start in the center, we want to work out. That's why the flexible spatula is so important, you can see. You want to kind of take this right to the edge. So as we make the white frosting, which is basically made with fluff, so we get that marshmallow feel,
You're right,
that'll
that's
go
gonna
on
be
top
great.
of this. But we do want to see some of our ganache when we cut it. There you go. You want to try this one?
Okay, and I'll try that one.
Yep. I
Okay.
hear she's a cupcake expert, so
Yes.
it should be no problem.
Yeah, cupcakes are so fun, and I think you could really take any cake recipe, even something as easy as the HoHo cake, and turn it into a cupcake too.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
Always experimenting with different flavors, so I think that's always a fun thing. So I'll get it as close to the edge right as possible.
Close to the edge, as even as you can. I mean, there's really no mistakes with chocolate.
That's right. Okay.
All right, there we go. Now these do need to go in the refrigerator for probably at least an hour before, so it's firm enough, the ganache is, to actually put the other frosting on top of it. So I'm gonna take these over to there. All right, time to make the frosting, which is basically a marshmallow frosting. So we're using a marshmallow cream. So here you go.
Okay.
Try to scale this recipe to make it simple. It's just the whole jar. Everything, 13 ounces.
That's right.
Yep.
So get all of that in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is fun because it's very sticky.
That's right. Well, it's definitely easier than making your own marshmallow fluff, right? So
this
definitely get the store bought.
marshmallow flavor, but it's got kind of a buttercream feel when it's done with the butter in it.
Okay.
All right, there we go. Excellent.
All right.
All right, I'll take that from you if you can. Now it also has 1 cup of butter, softened, needs to be like room temperature so it mixes easily.
Yep. And these are just 2 sticks of butter, right, Tim?
Yeah, 2 sticks of butter.
And do you prefer salted or unsalted?
Unsalted always.
Yep, me too.
Unsalted always. You can always add salt, you can't take it out.
That's right.
So, I mean, a little
vanilla?
Yeah, a little teaspoon of vanilla.
Okay.
Then loosen up a little bit. We have a couple teaspoons of milk. There we go.
All right.
All right, and then two cups of confectioner sugar.
All right.
So we can do this all at one time. You know, throw it in there, mix it up. Yep. It's pretty simple.
That's right.
Just takes a couple of minutes to come together.
All right. We'll get our attachment on there.
You know, start very low, slow speed.
Very slowly.
Otherwise, you'll have a dust cloud of sugar.
All right. So that comes
Once the sugar's all wet, you know, moistened, like now you can crank it up.
Yep.
Right. You can go another notch or two higher,
comes
probably.
To there. Okay.
Yep. Then give it 30 seconds or so, and then we will. There it
This
is.
is great.
Use scrape down the sides and the bottom, just to make sure we get an even incorporation of all the ingredients.
Right. All right.
There you go.
This is great. All right. So I'll scrape down the sides a little bit.
Scrape down the sides. You really want to get that little dimple at the bottom of the mixing bowl. Stuff tends to collect around it, so that's really a spot that always has something to be mixed in.
Okay. That's awesome.
There you go.
Okay.
Put that back down.
Now
We're good.
mix it a little more.
Yep. Mix it for another minute or so, and we should be good to go.
All right. And then what do we have next?
Next, we're going to do chocolate curls that go on top of the cake.
Okay.
We bring the stuff over here, it looks like. Okay. Bring the cutting board over here. Many people know, but always a wet towel under your cutting board. That keeps it from sliding around on you. It's stable, okay? So the chocolate curls, we're gonna do this way. Let me grab, sorry, where is it? There it is. Put down, getting pretty close there.
Yeah.
Put down
Looking pretty fluffy.
Yeah. Put down a little plastic wrap. Because to make the curls, we're going to put the chocolate against the cutting board, which then against your stomach for. Oop, you're going to go under the cutting board. See? This cutting board is not level, so we'll go over here. All right, for one time we get rid of that. It seems like it's sticking.
So you want to make sure, right, Tim, that the knife is really sharp.
Yeah, you want a sharp knife, for sure. But as you pull back, you can see that we're creating little tiny curls.
Yep.
Okay. You want to try?
Okay, sure.
I'll turn this off.
I'll trade with you.
Yep.
All right.
I think our fluff is good.
Yep. And this is bittersweet chocolate, right?
That is bittersweet. Bittersweet seems to curl better. Obviously has more chocolate, but less sugar in it, so it definitely does a better job curling.
Right.
than semi-sweet would. And again, we're using it, even though those that don't love dark chocolate always, well, we're using it as an accent piece on top, not really
Right.
the main flavoring.
Right. So if you don't, if you're getting a little nervous about how you're going to shave this chocolate, you know, feel free to just chop up the chocolate, or if you
Yep.
have some mini chocolate chips, that would
Yep,
be really
that works
easy
too.
just to sprinkle on
You
top.
can use, as we discussed, a vegetable peeler,
Yep.
which is very safe. It does make not so much curls as dust,
That's
but
right.
it does work. It certainly accent the cake well.
There we go. How's that, Tim?
Excellent. So you see
Okay.
that fluffed up nicely, so to speak. All right. Now, the reason I put this, besides the fact I wanted the chocolate to not sit on the counter, was so that you can gather it up a lot easier and into a bowl.
Great.
Now this room is not, there's a nice temperature. These curls will probably stay just fine at this temperature, but typically you want to get them into the refrigerator while you're doing the assembly and put them on last minute. That way they don't melt at all.
All right.
And then you have all this chocolate left to eat. So
Yes,
you're
you
good.
do. All right. So we'll get our cakes out now. As you all know, they've been chilling in the refrigerator.
Yes.
So we're going to pull these out, and we're going to show you how to make the last part of the assembly for
Right.
the famous Ohio HoHo cake. So as Tim's getting those out, you'll see that the ganache is pretty firm right now.
Yep.
Right, and that's why you want them chilled, right?
Maybe 15 minutes in the freezer.
That's
I mean,
right.
in the refrigerator, it's probably going to be more like an hour.
Yep.
But always clean your station.
That's right. And obviously, this is something you can also do ahead of time. So if you're
Right.
in a rush, you could do this the day before, right?
You could be at this point the day before, no problem. As long as you cover the cakes. I didn't cover them because we were going a short time. But
Right.
if you cover them with plastic wrap, you can make the cakes one day, the ganache the next, and the day of you can do the fluff. I mean,
That's right.
literally, if you want to space it out that way, no problem. And my again, offset spatula.
Yep.
Everybody loves. All right, so again, same process as the ganache. Literally, we're gonna put this on both the cakes.
Oh, that looks really good.
Trying to divide it up between. Looks like we have plenty.
Yes.
Okay. And you're gonna see I'm gonna put just a little bit more on this cake than this cake because this will go on top of this one.
Right.
And so when we do this, and I'll do this one, I'll let you do that one.
Okay.
We want to spread it out. We want to give it maybe like a ½ inch from the edge because it is going to push out a little bit.
The first time I had one of these HoHo cakes, I was at a football homecoming, my first football homecoming here at
nice.
Ohio, and I saw the cake as part of the buffet, and I was so excited because
Yeah.
I've always seen the smaller HoHos that you see in the grocery store.
Right.
But I'd never had a homemade
homemade
one,
one,
so it
right.
was really good. So.
Well, hopefully we're going to have some football here
That's
soon,
right. That's soon.
yeah.
We will be having football soon.
That's awesome.
And I'll share too. I know that this is one of the president's favorite desserts
Yep.
as well.
We love
so-
doing the skybox for them all
That's
the time.
right.
Yep. Here you go.
All right, so we'll
The
even
top
out this.
one, we want to take it all the way to the edge. And again, this is a rustic cake. If you get a little drip on the side or whatever, it's not a big deal.
Not a big
I mean,
deal.
some of the ganaches over the edge, not a big deal. It actually, I think, makes it a little more personal. I mean,
Right.
it's obviously homemade that way.
That's right.
We didn't buy it. Let me grab a plate.
This looks really good. Okay.
Nice.
Does that look okay?
Looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
All right.
Okay. Now we're just going to transfer these to a plate,
And we're just going to stack these.
like so. We're stacking them up.
Yep.
Give them a little, like this, kind of pushes the cream out and also sets the top in real good, okay? Let me do a quick little
That looks really
rinse, okay? And we are almost home.
good. That's right. We're in the home stretch now, so the last
Yeah.
thing we have now is, remember, we put the chocolate curls in the fridge
Right.
just to firm up. So you don't want to leave them out because you don't want them to melt, right? So we'll
Correct.
take what we
The other
have
thing you
left.
don't want to do is use your hands
That's right.
to do this.
That's right.
You will definitely melt them.
That's
So
right.
we're going to find a spoon. This will work.
Yeah.
Or a spatula.
Our spatula works, just not your hands.
Just not your
right?
hands,
Just
right,
not
just
your
not
hands.
your hands.
Because
So-
just the heat from your hands,
just
that
take a
small
little-
amount will melt them
Little
pretty
bits
easily.
like this. Just sprinkle it on the top. Again, if you're getting it on the plate, that's okay. More chocolate.
That looks really great, Tim.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Oops. You've got some, you can tell he's got the better shavings there at the top part. So, okay.
As you can see, they're all not perfect curls, but
that's right.
It doesn't really matter. I think it looks great.
Just a little for decoration.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
So that's your finished HoHo cake, your famous Ohio University HoHo cake. So what do you say we take a little taste?
Let's do it.
Okay.
You taste the one we made?
Yeah, we'll taste the one we made, right?
Yeah.
So we'll just take a little taste and see how it turned out, how we did here.
Let me get you a plate though. There we go.
And again, this is something you can serve at any special occasion if you're having your own football watch party at home with your family or your small circle of folks and your
Don't have hot one. Okay.
You can definitely serve this, and it's definitely something that that's going to be a fan favorite in your house very soon, so if it's not already.
So just wiping the knife after the first cut so you don't end up with all the interior and the exterior here. So.
And I'll say we made one of these the other day and my son couldn't wait to try it. I gave half to the neighbor and he ate the rest. So I was like, well, the HoHo cake was good from what I tasted. So this is great that we get to try some today. And so you see the beautiful layers in there of the ganache and the marshmallow fluff. Tim, I think it looks really great.
Yeah, I think it does too.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Let me get you a...
So you'll have to try some too. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. We'll just peel our mask off for a minute. So.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks really great. See? Okay.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really moist.
Yeah.
That marshmallow fluff is not too sweet. And I love the addition of the ganache too. It's really, really good. So
chocolate layer is always
the chocolate layer you can't lose with chocolate.
Always a good thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and try.
What do you think? And especially if you're a freshman, if you've never had the HoHo cake, they will be
pretty tasty.
Definitely something you should make with some friends. So I think this is really great. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you so much, Chef Tim, for helping us make this delicious HoHo cake. Also, I want to remind everybody that if you are interested in giving to the Division of Diversity and Inclusion, please click on the link in the description box and you can find out more about what we're doing in our division and ways that you can help support our students. Thank you again for joining us and have a happy homecoming.